Tonight, accepting the verdict, President Maithripala says that he will bow down to the decision of the Supreme Court with regard to his tenure in office. Taking action. A central bank will initiate measures for a forensic audit, says Spanish bank caused significant manipulations in government securities market. Action to follow. Yet to be explored. Pakistan High Commissioner to Sri Lanka says that the country is yet to tap into the Pakistan's $1 billion market. No show. US President Donald Trump cancels London visit over bad embassy deal. And in sports, positive thoughts. Sri Lankan skipper optimistic of winning the Tri-Series. Good evening, it's Friday the 12th of January 2018. I'm Mahesh Johnny and welcome everyone to First at 9. We want to welcome all our viewers joining us across Sri Lanka and from around the world. Well, before we begin with our lead story, we want to bring you an update with regard to the weather situation. Well, there's a sudden increase in wind speeds up to 70 to 80 kilometers per hour in sea areas from Puttalam to Bambalapitiya via Colombo. This is expected due to active clouds west of Sri Lanka, that is according to the DMC. Well, let me bring that story to you once again. There's a sudden increase in wind speeds up to 70 to 80 kilometers per hour in sea areas from Puttalam to Bambalapitiya via Colombo, and it's expected due to active clouds west of Sri Lanka. We will certainly keep a close watch on that story and bring you the very latest if there is any development. Let's now take a look at our lead story. Well, as the run-up to the election heats up, rallies are now taking place across the country organised by various parties. In Tissamaharama today, the SLFP held one of their election rallies attended by President Maithripala Sirisena. During the rally, the President spoke on the duration of his tenure and his decision to seek the opinion of the Supreme Court. Here, the head of state said that he will leave the post even today and join the People's Movement if the Supreme Court decides as such.
An election rally of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party took place this afternoon at the Tissamaharama NT Dayananda grounds. Senior party members along with the General Secretary of the UPFA Mahinda Amaravira were present at the event.
If we were not within the government, that thief Arjuna Mahendran will still be the governor of the central bank. On the 17th, this report will come to the parliament. But now Ravi Karunanika is coming forward in order to say that the finance ministry was not under him but under the PM. By saying that, he has made the PM the culprit. Asked from Sajid, when he comes to give the form for houses, as to what happens to the money, the thief is now caught.
Later on, President Maithripala Sirisena graced the occasion where he was greeted by party members.
Nirmala Prabuddha Nayakatvaya, Sri Lanka Nidahas Pakshaya, Hariyatata Arang, Eksat Janata Nidahas Sandhanaya, Poshane Karna Nayakaya, Sri Lanka Nidahas Pakshayata,
I have no problem in bringing the people to justice according to the law of the land, despite whoever they may be. I did not come here to stay forever. Now there is a big noise about my decision to seek advice from the Supreme Court about my term as president. Prior to me, my predecessors did the same. There are two opinions with regard to my tenure with the 19th Amendment coming into effect. We have to take a decision with regard to development plans, and it needs to consider my tenure as president. So that's why I sought the opinion of the Supreme Court. This is a very democratic process. I am ready to accept honorably any decision that the courts hand over to me. It doesn't matter to me whether it's 4, 5 or 6. If not tomorrow, even today I am ready to leave this position and join the People's Movement to take our agenda forward.
Many incidents about violations of election laws by politicians during the election period is being reported on a daily basis. Today, the Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna arrived at the Election Commission to make a complaint regarding such a violation.
Secretary of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Sagara Karyavasam arrived at the Elections Commission to make a complaint over violation of election laws against Minister of Industry and Commerce Rishad Badiuddin. Speaking to media, he said that the minister has planned to hand over appointments to more than 50 consumer investigation officers at Satosa. According to the complaint, an official from the Elections Commission arrived at Satosa where the appointments were planned to be handed over.
They have taken permission from the Elections Commission earlier, so the permission has been granted to proceed without the interference of politicians. The officers can hand it over to them without any obstruction.
However, when journalists were at the scene to report on the event where Minister Rishad Badiuddin was expected to attend, several officers at the location obstructed the journalists in covering the story.
Many from the Podujana Peramuna visited the president today, including their secretary in charge of organizing Anuradha Polgampula, to pledge their support. They call them their party emblem, the lotus flower bud, in a bid to get the votes of the Buddhist community. There is no such thing. Instead, there is a flower bud. We are the only party to have the strength of 3 presidents, and we request their blessing to bring victory to the UPFA led by the SLFP.
පෙරේද තිබුණා මතවන කොමිසමේ සාකච්ඡාවක් 80 දෙනෙක් පමණ විවිධ මැර චෝදනා විවිධ වැරදි සඳහා ඉන්න කට්ටියගේ නාම යෝජනා තියෙනවා කියලා.
The chairman of the Election Commission relates wonderful stories, but when it comes to implementing law, those stories lack practicality. I respect him, but his statements are not implemented. Instead of talking about removing boards at offices, it would be better to name such candidates with alleged offences and implement the law. Both the cafe and PAFRL, as well as public leaders, voice the same. Laws are imposed even on those who do not contest the election, and there is no use to it. Such should be done to the contestants of the election. There are buildings which are constructed, and without unveiling them, the children will have to wait outside for days. There is no possibility of halting the development of our province even for one day due to an election. I told them not to halt anything since we cannot accept inconveniencing people.
Well, as seen recently, views were forthcoming on the bond inquiry report as well as the unsavoury situation which ensued in Parliament. Some categorically refuted the notion of a bond scam, while others were critical of events surrounding the incident.
Price of rice used to be 55 rupees, and 3 years on it's become 110. Not only that, a fertilizer subsidy is not available for even 3,500 rupees. There are smaller thefts underneath the bond scam. 2 billion kilos of wheat is imported annually. 18 billion rupees is stolen by removing the import tax on flour. What we seek is to whom the 9 rupees from a kilo of it goes to. It is obvious that a conspiracy was hatched to turn the parliament into a joke. If the speaker continues in this vein, the parliament will become prey to an anti-democratic process. By not tabling it after announcing, not only the country would be discredited, but potential investors will also not come, plunging the country into an economic turmoil. There is no truth in claims that the country lost a huge sum of money through the so-called bond scam. If there was any corruption, it was revealed, but no revelations were made under the previous regime. They remanded people for misuse of vehicles under the Public Properties Act. Where is that law for them? We may get asked whether we are part of the government. We are. If honesty is to be shown, file charge sheets pertaining to the bond scam and bring them to court. We are the ones who made this political transformation. It was us who gave President Maithripala the strength to speak out on fraud and corruption. Those who thought that Parliament can be controlled with force by misusing the freedom we have given learnt a good lesson the day before yesterday. Those who engaged in telephone conversations with Arjuna Aloysius attempted to snatch documents when we were submitting objection. That led to other issues and we didn't instigate anything. 5 surrounded our hero from Kalaniya and attacked, with him shouting, "Not strangle him." Afterwards, he was in Parliament without buttons to his shirt. One side shouted Mahinda is the thief, while the other shouted that Ranil is. Both are thieves, and that's the truth. It's a loss for the public since 5 million rupees is spent to convene the Parliament. This is no ordinary scuffle, but one worth 5 million.
More on the bond issue, the central bank will initiate measures to carry out forensic audits in relation to the issuance of treasury bonds during the period from 2008 to 2014 and the treasury bond auction held in March 2016. In a statement relating to the recommendations made in the report of the Commission of Inquiry that probed the issuance of treasury bonds during the period from February 1st, 2015 to March 31st, 2016, the Monetary Board said that the central bank has already implemented some of the recommendations, while measures have already been initiated to implement most of the other proposals. Monetary Board added that the report is continuing to be studied and further action will be initiated as appropriate. Board of the Central Bank said Secretary to the President has handed over a copy of the report of the Commission of Inquiry to investigate, inquire and report on the issuance of treasury bonds during the period from 1st of February 2015 to 31st March 2016 to Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy on Wednesday. The Monetary Board has consulted the Attorney General on the actions already taken and outlined in its statement the initiatives that have or are being taken on the recommendations made in the report. Central Bank says a process of law reforms which commenced in mid-2017 is currently underway and new provisions to the Monetary Law Act as well as other key legislations are being formulated, while a new Liability Management Act is expected to come into force in early 2018, the provisions of which are expected to improve the risk profile of both domestic and foreign public debt. Outlining measures taken to increase efficiency and enhance transparency of debt management operations, Central Bank said it introduced a new primary issuance system for treasury bonds in July 2017, replacing the fully auction-based issuance system. Under the new auction system, Central Bank has been able to raise an additional 110.16 billion rupees through new treasury bond issuance during the second half of 2017. Meanwhile, a new system for the issuance of treasury bills will be introduced shortly. An electronic bidding system for Sri Lanka development bonds will also be introduced, and secondary market activities of SLDBS will be facilitated. As a measure to strengthen internal controls and transparency of public debt operations, a voice recording system is used in the front office of the Public Debt Department and CCTV systems installed in the public debt departments. The statement added that preliminary work commenced with the aim of implementing an electronic trading platform and central counterparty system to reduce risk to counterparties. As per measures taken to improve transparency and governance of the investment decisions-making process as well as the internal control framework of the EPF, since November 2016, all investments are being made with the approval of the Investment Committee chaired by Deputy Governor in charge of EPF, while prior approval of the Monetary Board is obtained for investments outside government securities. Elaborating on regulatory action taken on perpetual treasuries, the statement went on to say that directions were issued from time to time, and as of now, business activities of PTL are suspended while PTL are prevented from disposal of assets, distribution of profits and making payments without the prior approval of the Central Bank until 6 July 2018. The Central Bank also froze assets of perpetual treasuries held with Central Bank and has informed the Securities and Exchange Commission to take appropriate action with regard to PTL assets coming under its purview. As for measures taken on Pan Asia Banking Corporation, since investigations reveal that Pan Asia Banking Corporation had engaged in transactions which appeared to have caused significant manipulations in the government securities market, the Monetary Board suspended the business and its activities for a period of 6 months with effect from 15th of August 2017. The statement added that investigations are ongoing in this respect and further action will be taken based on that outcome. The Monetary Board statement further notes that disciplinary proceedings were initiated against staff members subsequent to internal investigations. As a broader measure for follow-up and adherence, the Central Bank has already taken measures to strengthen the Legal and Compliance Department and establish the Resolution and Enforcement Department with effect from January 1st this year. The Monetary Board is to assess the internal audit functions of Central Bank with a view to further expanding its scope and strengthening its processes. The Central Bank will also initiate measures to carry out forensic audits in relation to the issuance of treasury bonds during the 2008 to 2014 and the treasury bond auctions held in March 2016. Well, let me update you with regard to the weather situation, which the Disaster Management Centre announced a little while ago. Let me read out that statement to you. Due to an active cloudiness in the sea areas of the west of Sri Lanka, the possibility of heavy showers and thunder showers and sudden roughness associated with sudden increase of wind speeds up to 70 to 80 kilometers per hour is in the deep and shallow sea areas of the coast extending from Puttalam to Balapitia via Colombo is very high. The Disaster Management Centre also says, quoting the Meteorological Department, that naval and fishing communities are requested to be vigilant in this regard. You can expect some heavy winds during the next 6 hours. Well, with that, let's take a look at other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
Two children in the same family residing in Navagattegama are battling for their lives due to liver failure. Following their birth, medical examinations revealed that 5-year-old Jinuli and 3-year-old Harshana were suffering from liver failures. Although the doctors recommended liver transplants, their parents cannot afford the procedure. According to doctors, Jinuli should undergo a liver transplant within a year and a half, but there is only 3 months remaining for Harshana. The newly renovated Ward Number 7 and Ward Number 8 of Apeksha Hospital in Maharagama was unveiled in line with the 39th birthday of Venerable Vagantale Sivali Thera. The former Navy media spokesperson Commodore DKP Dasanayaka and 6 others who were granted bail by the Colombo High Court this week was released today by Fort Magistrate Lanka Jayaratna. The strike carried out by nurses of Sri Jayawardhanapura Hospital over the introduction of a fingerprint attendance system was suspended today following discussions between trade unions and hospital authorities. Wildlife officials apprehended 3 persons who shot and killed a pregnant deer in the Tabbova Reserve.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
On to business news now. The International Monetary Fund says despite advancements, Sri Lanka has made the country remain vulnerable to shocks given a high level of public debt, large financing needs and weak external positions. Therefore, it says that it is important to build on the progress made and accelerate reforms to reduce fiscal and external vulnerabilities. The IMF completed the third review of Sri Lanka's economic performance under the program supported by a 3-year extended arrangement under the Extended Fund Facility Arrangement.
As you know, this third review was completed in early December in the IMF board meeting, enabling the disbursement of about $250 billion, which was disbursed already. Sri Lanka's performance under the fund-supported program has remained on track since the second review. The authorities met all end-June quantitative targets and legislated the Inland Revenue Act. Domestic revenue mobilization has helped meet the fiscal targets, and strong capital inflows supporting the build-up of international reserves. And the 2018 budget was consistent with the macroeconomic framework of the program. The third review was also meaningful in marking the midpoint of the 3-year EFF program. Since the program started in June 2016, performance has been broadly on track in macroeconomic policies, and the government implemented 2 major tax reforms. In the 2016 VAT amendments, the government raised VAT rates and also narrowed exemptions or broadened the tax base. The new Inland Revenue Act was legislated in October 2017 and will be implemented in April this year. Despite the progress made so far, however, Sri Lanka remains vulnerable to shocks owing to its high level of public debt, large financing needs.
Pakistani High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Dr. Shahid Ahmed Hasmat points out that Sri Lankan businessmen are yet to tap into some of the biggest opportunities available in the Pakistani market. He was speaking at the opening of the Pakistan Single Country exhibition held at the BMICH today. Also speaking at the event, Pakistan Minister of Commerce Mohammad Pervez Malik reiterated the importance for a stronger trade ties between the two countries.
The three-day Pakistan Single Country Exhibition 2018 was declared open by President Maithripala along with Pakistani Minister of Commerce Mohammad Pervez Malik and High Commissioner of Pakistan in Sri Lanka Dr. Shahid Ahmad Hashmat. Organized by the Trade Development Authority of Pakistan in association with the Pakistani High Commission in Sri Lanka for the third consecutive year, the exhibition aims to provide a platform for Pakistani companies to showcase their products and services to the Sri Lankan public and the business community. This also provides linkages with the Pakistan market, allowing Sri Lankan entrepreneurs to look into the possibility of entering this billion-dollar market.
As you all know, we are a country of over 200 million people with an annual import of nearly 50 billion US dollars. With this massive market, a great market, and the massive investment now coming under China-Pakistan economic corridor, it is expected that the annual growth present of a 5% will increase to 7% in next 2 years. This provides a wonderful opportunity for Sri Lankan businessmen to draw advantage through mutually beneficial trade.
Sri Lanka holds an exceptional position of being the first country with which Pakistan entered into a free trade agreement. This clearly manifests the trust that two countries have in the economic potential of each other. Unfortunately, the present trade volume of around US $350 million does not reflect the true potential that exists. Despite the availability of tariff concessions on more than 4,000 tariff lines on either sides, the bilateral trade is still limited to a very narrow band of products and with very little diversification. However, there is a growing commitment on both sides to rectify this imbalance. The target of increasing the bilateral trade to US $1 billion may seem ambitious, but with sustained efforts and spirit of cooperation, I am confident it is not beyond us.
Well, let's get an idea as to how the markets should perform during the day today. And for that, let's cross over to Christina Ponsu from NDB Securities with our weekly review.
During the week, ASPI lost 0.6% mainly due to price losses in counters such as Ceylon Tobacco Company, John Keel's Holdings and Asian Hotels and Properties. Meanwhile, S&P SL20 decreased by 0.4% for the week. The average daily turnover for the week was down from last week to 832 million rupees. The sector recorded the highest sector turnover during the week, whilst the second highest was seen in the diversified sector. Foreigners remained active during the week, where foreign purchases accounted for 63% of the total weekly turnover. A net foreign inflow of 359 million rupees was recorded for the week. This resulted in year-to-date net foreign inflow to increase to 2.3 billion rupees. Out of the weekly turnover, block trades accounted nearly 60%, which was slightly higher than last week.
On to international news now. US President Donald Trump has cancelled a planned visit to the UK in February, where he was to open the new $1 billion US embassy in London, citing that moving the embassy from Mayfair to South London was a bad deal.
In a tweet, US President said he was not a big fan of the new embassy, saying it was a bad deal. The tweet went on to say the old site was sold by Barack Obama's administration for peanuts. The new embassy on the South Bank is a veritable fortress set back at least 100 feet from surrounding buildings and also incorporating living quarters for the US Marines permanently stationed inside. The ribbon-cutting ceremony may instead be hosted by US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump reportedly lashed out at immigrants in a foul-mouthed Oval Voice outburst. The remark was said to have been specifically made against immigrants from Haiti, El Salvador and other African countries. Trump's remarks in the White House came as Democratic Senator Dick Durbin and Republican Senator Lindsey Graham briefed the president on a newly drafted immigration bill being pushed by a bipartisan group of senators. In response, left-wing Haitian political activist Renee Civil returned the favor to President Trump, calling him a cancer.
Donald Trump is more than just a cancer on the world, and not just throughout the world, but particularly for the American people. We demand that Donald Trump apologize before the entire African continent, as well as before Haiti, the country whose blood has been used by ancestors who have served with their minds and bodies to liberate the US itself from slavery.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Let's move on to sports news now. The 16-member squad named for Sri Lanka due to take part in the upcoming Tri-Nation Series is set to leave the country for Bangladesh tomorrow morning. Captain Angelo Matthews and the rest of the team participated in religious observances at the Sri Lanka cricket headquarters this evening.
The Tri-Nation Series between Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe and Bangladesh is scheduled to take place in Bangladesh. This is the first international series being played under new head coach Chandika Hathurusinghe. Angelo Matthews is entrusted with the captaincy for the series. Dinesh Chandimal and Wanindu Hasaranga are called back to the team, while making his entrance to the squad is Shehan Madhushankar. The series will begin on the 15th of January and Sri Lanka will play their first match against Zimbabwe on the 17th of January.
It's a big challenge, but I believe we can win because everyone on the team are very skillful athletes and we have a very good sense of togetherness. Every international team plays well. Bangladesh and Zimbabwe aren't the same as they used to be. Even Zimbabwe has brought back some of their main players, so it will be a big challenge, but I believe we can win.
Well, the award season is alive and kicking in 2018, and this time the critics came out to honor the best in television and in cinema for the past year, and The Shape of Water continues to shape up the Oscar race. The Guillermo del Toro directed fantasy love story was heaped with praise at yesterday's Critics' Choice Awards, earning 4 awards, including Best Picture. On the TV side, Big Little Lies continued its critical sweep, taking home 4 awards of its own. Now, here's a look at the ceremony that took place in Hollywood yesterday.
23rd Annual Critics' Choice Awards. Here is your host, film and television star and activist.
The 23rd Critics' Choice Awards was hosted by actress Olivia Munn and kicked off yesterday to celebrate the best talent in Hollywood for the past year.
I want to say this really quickly. Thank you to all of the men for speaking up at the Golden Globes and joining our sisters.
Sorry. Actually, they didn't really say much there.
Oh, my bad. Okay. Never mind.
Oh, I do want to say, by the way, thank you to the producers for paying Niecy and I the same amount of money and Mark Wahlberg $1 million.
Oh, say what now?
I know, he took a pay cut, so it's really nice and generous of him. Thank you so much.
In the television category, Big Little Lies, about the lives of a group of women living in an affluent California coastal town, swept the movies made for TV or limited series category, and it stars Nicole Kidman, Alexander Skarsgård and Laura Dern, won for acting.
Nicole Kidman.
I love being an actor. Thank you for letting me do it.
Female-driven dystopian saga The Handmaid's Tale won Best Drama Series, Best Actress in a Drama Series for Elizabeth Moss, and the Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series category for Anne Dowd.
Elizabeth Moss, The Handmaid's Tale.
Gary Oldman was named Best Actor for his role as British wartime leader Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour, and Frances McDormand, who did not attend the gala event, won the award for Drama Actress for her role as an angry mother seeking vengeance in 3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Gary Oldman.
Darkest Hour was an experience never to be repeated or forgotten, and this kind recognition of my contribution makes it all the more special. God bless you. Thank you.
Mexican director Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water, a dark fairy tale in which a mute cleaner named Elisa falls in love with an aquatic creature, swept the top prizes at the Critics' Choice Awards, taking the Best Picture and Best Director awards.
And the Critics' Choice Award for the Best Picture goes to The Shape of Water.
Accepting on behalf of The Shape of Water is director Guillermo del Toro and J. Miles Dale.
Later, Wonder Woman star Gal Gadot received a special See Her award.
I'm so proud of you tonight to present Gal Gadot with the See Her Award.
In the past weeks and months, we've been witnessing a movement in our industry and society, and I want to share this award with all the women and men who stand for what's right.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures for tomorrow are to vary between 19 and 30 degrees Celsius, with the lowest temperatures yet again expected in the central hills. When looking at the map, a low pressure zone is set to prevail over the island and will gradually disappear. Showers can be expected in Jaffna, Manna, Vaunia and Anuradhapura as well as Trincomalee. Anuradhapura, Kandy, Colombo and Galle in particular will experience some thunder showers. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. I'm Mahesh Johnny. First at 9. We'll return tomorrow at the same time. Make sure you join us then. And before we go, we like to leave you with a glimpse of the glamour that took to the red carpet of the 23rd Critics' Choice Awards in Hollywood. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good weekend.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.